to have such a group of new people. This is actually the 4th time that the Libertarian Party of Michigan has sponsored this very unique straw poll event. Certainly there are other states that sponsor straw polls where they kind of get a rate, raise your hand, tell us who you think you're supporting in the presidential campaign. Michigan, this is now the 4th time where we have a very unique event, and I want to outline kind of what the rules are and how it was laid out initially. Running for president is not easy, as you might imagine. And in a party such as ours that doesn't have the benefit of support from the state, it is difficult for candidates to put together all the resources necessary to put together a very good campaign. We decided back in 2003, prior to the 2004 campaign, that it would be useful to run a straw poll that provided an opportunity for candidates to actually raise money for their own campaigns. So part of the nature of this event is that if you hear somebody speaking today, and we have one presidential candidate who actually has the opportunity to speak live to you, and he'll be coming on momentarily, and or one of the representatives, and we'll introduce them later, and you like what that campaign is about, we hope that you'll be generous with your donations to their campaign. The way it works is we're going to collect all of the checks and Bitcoin or other pledge items that are legitimate to use for pledging for that candidate. And the committee will count those funds while you're having your lunch. And whoever raises the most money will win the straw poll. So that's how this works. We will then surrender those funds to each of the campaigns represented here today. If you do not have a campaign represented here today, it's because they didn't bother to send anyone. So I first want to say thank you to the representatives and to Mr. Feldman, who we'll introduce in a moment, for taking the time to come to speak to the Michigan delegation. It's a great honor for us to have people come and participate. And we had a great time 4 years ago, very, very successful. And I hope all of you get very engaged today, ask all the questions that you can, and learn as much as you can about the various campaigns that are here. With that, I want to introduce our state chair. Kim McCurry is in her first term as chairman of the Libertarian Party of Michigan, was elected at the state convention in Kalamazoo past May, and worked very hard. I'm going to ask her to spend just a couple minutes talking about some of the initiatives that we've been involved in. Hopefully many of you are involved in them as well. But for those of you who are new here, there were some folks that told me this morning they drove down from Marquette, and back to the room. That is really wonderful. And for all of you, a big part of what the party is about is getting you involved so that we can extend our message and make sure that all the voters out there know what the Libertarian Party is about. So with that, I'm going to introduce Kim McCurry.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank you for all coming today. Not many people want to come out on a Saturday for politics. As Bill said, we have attempted to implement several teams, and many things have happened throughout the year. We've had loss of parents or other family members. We've had illnesses that have had people step off of the board. But through this all, we have still accomplished one of the major things that we've been working on for the past 5 years. We have a new website up. It's still in the process of having everything changed over, but we are in a new time where it's actually mobile friendly. Our last website was nowhere near mobile friendly. Along with working with the website, we're working on updating our database so that we can integrate the two, so that we'll be able to send out emails much more efficiently and keep track of those that we send regular mailings to. The database we are using now was timed out. It wasn't working well with an internet browser, so we've been using Excel for the past couple of years, and now we're ready to upgrade to a newer system again. National has actually been very helpful with us in updating our website and our database. Going forward, I hope that we can work with other states as well as national in working out systems. It's not worth recreating a system if we can share ideas. In addition, we are working on trying to build up our membership, and I am very happy to say that for the first time since I've been a member of this party, we are back over 140 members. I'm sure after what we've brought in today, we are at 150. Our national membership is back over 400, and we hope that this year's presidential campaign, since we have so many viable and intelligent candidates, that we will see a huge growth in this next year. With that, candidates are very important, and later today we'll have an opportunity to hear from our political director a little bit on his plans on how to reach out and gain some more candidates for our party. And we'll also be hearing from our presidential candidate and talking to representatives of others. As well, there is one person here who was not able to participate because he wasn't able to get in time because he didn't announce till later. So there is another presidential candidate that is able to be talked to too. And that person is right from Michigan. I guess I'll turn this back over to Bill to introduce our presidential candidate.
Okay. Talk briefly about the rules. Mark Feldman is the candidate from Ohio and is currently serving as our LNC representative for Region 3. I do want to talk a little bit about our payment rules. And as you're listening to Mark, I want to put that in perspective. We had a rule that was approved by the LEC. Mark's campaign is predicated on $5 donations. And so later today, if you do decide to support Mark's campaign, he doesn't want you to write a check for any more than that or give him a $5 bill. But any donations in addition to that you would like to make in his name, you can donate to the Libertarian Party of Michigan. The Libertarian Party, the LEC approved that rule as a way to allow him to both compete for this straw poll victory and at the same time not violate the principle that he's tried to lay out that he will talk more fully about during the course of his presentation. So without anything further, I'd like to introduce Mr. Mark Feldman, the candidate for President of the United States for the Libertarian Party.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Mark Feldman. I'm an anesthesiologist from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm used to putting people to sleep one at a time. I try to use some humor because there is power in humor and it helps people remember things. I'm delighted to be here and for a number of reasons. I saw a note, it was a meme on the internet. It looked like a little private note and it went like this. Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Eat me now, too late. Signed, the avocado. People say that we're in a perfect storm. I like the analogy of the avocado better. The idea that it's too early, it's too early, it's too early, until the time is right, and then very soon it's too late. I think we have an opportunity today here in Michigan that was never available before and might never be again. And I'm here to try to take advantage of that opportunity. I want to thank you all. I have to say that I admire all of you. I'm very inclusive as a libertarian. I tell people that unlike some who feel like most people in the Libertarian Party are on the right track because they're too independent or too idealistic or too pragmatic, my feeling is that every single Libertarian Party member adds value to our party, from the most abolitionist, anarchist, radical to the most pragmatic Rand Paul supporter. I call myself sometimes an intersectional libertarian because we're coming from different places. We may end up different places, but right now we're all here together and we all really want to achieve the same thing. I have a different view of running for president. I don't really want to run for president, but I feel like I have to. The example, the best analogy I came up with is it's as if we all share the same apartment. We're all living together in this big apartment, and it's got one bathroom. And the apartment is the United States of America, and the bathroom is the federal government. And every 4 years, we get someone to be the leader for our apartment, and every 4 years, they say they're going to clean the bathroom, but they never do it. And it's gotten so bad that the only time people use it if they're so drunk that they can stand the smell. So we have this horrible bathroom, and there are anarchists who say we should just get rid of the bathroom, just go behind the dumpster outside. But I think it's good to have a bathroom, and we all want to have a bathroom. Now, I have no interest in cleaning bathrooms. That's not what I enjoy in life. But if nobody else is going to do it, the fact is I can't stand the stink anymore. So I'm willing to do it, and I'll say how I'm going to do it. And then what it really comes down to is you. Now, I know how to succeed in the Libertarian Party. The way to succeed in the Libertarian Party is to talk about liberty and talk about freedom. Well, I don't talk about liberty and I don't talk about freedom because that's what everybody else does. And my wife says I'm contrary. I told her I don't think so. That's true. I'm going to talk about three things that libertarians don't like to talk about, and that's power, control, and faith. Now, I'll start with faith because I don't want people to get in the wrong direction. I don't push religion on anybody, but my point is that logic always takes you from point A to point B, but it doesn't tell you why you started with point A in the first place. So we all believe in something. And I think it's important to believe, because sometimes belief matters. There's a story of a mystic by the name of Honi. Actually, it was in the 1st century. And Honi was famous because people believed he could make it rain. And he did it by talking to God. And he was known as Honi the Muggle, or Honi the Circle Maker, because he would draw a circle on the ground, stand in the circle, pray, and tell God that he's not leaving that circle until it rains. And it used to rain. And, when rain didn't come in the wintertime, that was a terrible thing. So people were very highly motivated. So they would pay his expenses, and they would, show up at his meetings. So one group, they wanted Honi. There was a drought, and they needed rain. So they told Honi, we'll pay your expenses, come in. Will you come in and pray for us, help us to get rain? And he said, I will, but, it works through prayer, and it has to be sincere. You really have to believe that it can rain. So I need at least 10 members of the community to come and pray with me. They said, no problem. We have 10 leaders of our community who are going to come. Well, he said, tell them when they come, they need to be fully prepared. And that includes bringing their prayer books, bringing their prayer shawls, bringing everything that they need. So the day came, And the 10 men were there, and Pony looked at what they brought, and he said, "You can all go home." They said, "Why? We brought you here. We came all this way." He said, "Because I told you to come prepared, and you didn't come prepared." They said, "What do you mean? We're all here." He said, "Show me your prayer books." And they all held up their prayer books. He said, "Show me your prayer shawls." And they all held up their prayer shawls. He said, "Show me your raincoats." They were willing to make the effort, but they didn't really believe. How many people here sincerely believe it's possible for us to win this election? A few. But that's okay. I'm here to change your mind, because I'm not saying it's likely. It would require a revolution, but revolutions happen. We don't make it happen. We could help it. We can facilitate. John Adams has some great quotes about revolution. One is, he said, "The revolution starts in the minds of the people, and it starts long before the first shot gets fired." And if you look at what's happening in the world, there is a worldwide movement towards freedom. And there's also an instability in the world. A wonderful book by Mr. Ramos called "The Age of the Unthinkable," about the New World Disorder, basically explaining why things are happening that nobody would have predicted happening. Fall of the Soviet Union, fall of the Berlin Wall, General Motors going bankrupt, reality TV star running for president. All these things nobody would have predicted, but they're actually happening. And the bottom line is, it's because of the way we make connections and the way we communicate. And with technology, we can send information at such low cost and so fast that it causes instability in the whole system. Now, to most people, a revolution seems impossible. But a revolution is the change in the way people think. It's not just a change in who's in charge. It's a drastic change. And because it's a drastic change, revolutions always seem impossible until they happen, and then afterwards they seem inevitable. And that's what I think we can see with the Libertarian Party. So I'm here today. For example, I'm not a politician. I hate politicians. I grew up in Washington. I don't hate politicians. You know, some of them are, what is it that Donald Trump said? I'm sure some of them are very good people. But I grew up just outside Washington, D.C. I was born at Sibley Hospital in Washington, D.C. And growing up in the D.C. area, I got to know some politicians, go to their homes and things. My roommate in college had 3 uncles who, one ran for president, Phil Crane, and 2 of his brothers, the Crane brothers, ran for Congress. They used to call them the Kennedys of the right. So I know people, but what you find is that politicians, their job is to control people. That's how they get power. They get power by controlling people, and they control people because they have power. And it feeds on itself until they become very powerful people who control a lot of people. And they do it mostly with what they say. And they say things that motivate and inspire people. But I'll tell you the secret. They don't mean it. They talk about principles. One of my favorite lines from Jon Stewart about the Libertarian Party, he said, the Libertarian Party says they want more freedom, lower taxes. It's really, what's the difference between them and the Republicans? Oh, they actually want to do that. That's the difference. We have commitment to principles. We're the party of principles. I tell people that before Obama's first term, I was concerned that he had a set of principles that were dangerous for America. After his first term, I felt much better about him because I felt he had no principles at all. And you know, this is why we have to face reality about what we are facing. I was having a discussion with someone high up in the Republican Liberty Coalition. I have a hard time saying Liberty Republicans. It's kind of like military intelligence or jumbo shrimp. It's one of these things that just doesn't seem to go together to me. But we were explaining why the other one can't possibly win. And he started first. He said, you know, libertarians have a lot of great ideas, and I agree with almost all of it. He said, but you can't win because the Republican Party is so much larger and has so much more money and power. Whatever issue the libertarians come up with, whether it's same-sex marriage or gun rights or marijuana legalization or civil asset forfeiture, if it starts getting traction in the public, the Republican Party will jump on it bigger and louder and will look like they invented it. So you might as well just give up because there's no way you can win. I said, oh, that's interesting because my main libertarian issue is the corrupting influence of money in politics, and that money in politics is being used to take away our freedom, which to me means it's trying to control us. So my major thrust of my campaign, what makes my campaign different, is that anyone can donate to my campaign with a $5 maximum. I don't accept more than $5 from any individual. Now, I'm not against, I'm not against, I tell people as a physician, I'm against morbid obesity, but it doesn't mean I'm totally against food. You know, I have no problem with money. And in fact, I'm going to be asking today for your money, $5 from me and the rest to support Libertarian Party of Michigan. But I explained to this fellow, I said, what if my $5 maximum caught on and started to get approval by the public, 1%, 3%, 5%, 7%? Do you think the Republican Party could get in front of that? He thought for a few seconds and very quietly said, no, I don't think so. So this is the way I see it. When I say that it's possible that we can win, we need to find a path. And I think that this is one path to success. I think everyone as kids does these mazes where, you see these big, with the car trips, you want the kids to be quiet. Sometimes you give them a puzzle book. And if you get this big puzzle with all these different pathways, most kids figure out at some point that that it's possible. So if you start at the end and work your way backwards to the start, a lot of times it's a lot easier. So that's what I did is in terms of running for president. Start at the end, because that way you're never facing anything that's impossible, because you already got there. So let's say that I'm already in government. Well, how could we move our government in a libertarian direction? President is not a king. President only has limited power. So how can a president move, even if a president won, we're now assuming that I've already won, how can you move our government, our country, in the right direction? And I actually got the idea from in 2010, from my campaign for Attorney General. I was looking for to do the website. So I was looking at old websites of Ohio Attorney Generals, just so I could get the boilerplate legal things to put on the contribution. And I came across one where the candidate said that each taxpayer could shrink the government. How could they shrink the government of Ohio? He said, by donating to my campaign, because the state of Ohio has a balanced budget amendment. The budget must be balanced, and offers a $25 dollar-for-dollar rebate to your taxes for campaign contributions to statewide office. So if you donate $25 from your tax liability to the campaign of an attorney general, that's $25 less that the Ohio government gets in taxes, which means the Ohio government has to cut the size of the government by $25. Well, and this shows you, most things that you can take off your taxes are tax deductions. They just make your total income smaller by a little bit, save you a little bit on taxes. There's only one thing or very few things, maybe the only thing, that government gives you a dollar-for-dollar rebate on. and that's the thing that's most important to our government, and that's campaign contributions. Not donations for children or for national security, but I think still you can donate $3 or $6 as a couple and take that $3 or $6 right off your taxes to give to a presidential campaign. And I thought, well, this makes a lot of sense. Why don't we expand it? Why don't we make all charitable contributions dollar for dollar rebates? So anyone can donate money to the charity of their choice and take that money directly off their taxes. Why should we pay government to take care of people when we can decide how to take care of people ourselves more efficiently, more effectively? Now, when you compare that, when you combine that with a balanced budget, then this allows us to change the incentive system of our whole government. So my balance and credit plan for our country involves two things. Number one, balance the budget and keep it balanced. You think it's hard? It's not hard. I'm going to try to save some time. Who's in charge of time here? Can you let me know? I have about 20 minutes left, and we'll switch to questions. So we'll because I could keep talking. My wife says, don't get them started on politics. And this is the longest time I've ever had. But you'll see, is I won't run out. But if you'll let me give you a 20-minute hindsight, we'll switch to questions.
About 25.
We had 25 minutes? Okay, so we're almost there. So we'll say to how to do it. But let's say we're going to balance the budget and keep it balanced. Number one. Number two, change our taxes from from charitable deductions from deductions to rebates. Now, so what it does is basically, when you keep a balanced budget, if billions and billions of dollars are taken out of the IRS by taxpayers and go directly to private foundations and organizations and local charities, then the government has to cut its budget by the same amount, or else your budget won't be balanced. But now it doesn't have to be done on political factors. It can be done with data, because the government knows what people are donating to. If people are donating to education, then we ought to be able to cut the Department of Education. If people are donating to veterans organizations, we're able to cut the Veterans Administration. But it's a way to shrink the government dramatically and drastically without decreasing the benefits to the people who need them. And in fact, if you believe, as I do, that private organizations and taxpayers are better at making decisions and actually helping people than government and government agencies, then there actually should be an increase in the benefits to people while government shrinks like a bounce house when we pull the plug. So I do have a system for government. Now, the next question is, so let's work backwards. Okay, so if that works, how did I get there? If it's going to take a lot of power and wealth from people, how could the multinational corporations, the special interests, the whole political machine allow it to happen? I'm just one person. If I'm going to do this personally, what's to stop them from using the media to assassinate my character or a bullet to the back of the head? We're talking about billions of dollars. Well, the answer is it can't be about me. I can't be seen as the eloquent spokesman, the shining boy, the fellow with the melodious, hypnotizing voice who's able to convince you of things. People have to support me only because of my ideas, because you can't kill an idea. You can throw dirt on an idea, it still comes back. Now, what about me as a person? I tell people that my only personal quality, I think, that makes it easier for me to run for president is I've got probably the thickest skin of any candidate you can imagine. In fact, if someone comes up to me and goes, Dr. Feldman, I agree with everything you say, I'd say there must be something wrong with you, because I want you to think for yourself. Oh, I agree with that too, but that's all right. I want people to think for themselves, because I'm all about individual power. And the last thing I wanted to cover before we go to questions and answers is the idea of control. Because again, people want to talk about freedom and liberty. I want to talk about control. And if there's one thing I want to get through is control is a zero-sum game. you understand the difference between a zero-sum game and a win-win situation. Liberty and freedom sounds like a win-win. I'll give you freedom, you give me freedom, we all have freedom, we all do better, our economy does better, free market, freedom for everybody, everybody does better, nobody loses. But it doesn't work that way, because to really have freedom, you have to have control over yourself, and you need to have not other people control you. And control, unlike freedom and liberty, control is a zero-sum game. What that means is, if political control means the ability to influence other people's decisions, well, in this country, we have just over 300 million people who are decision makers. And those 300 million people could either be followers or they can be controllers. So we have 300 million potential followers and 300 million potential controllers. Now, here's how the math works. That means, on average, each American controls only one person. And that when there are people who are controlling more than one person, there are other people who are controlling less than one person. So my goal is to maximize the power of individuals to control themselves. And if you do that, that will automatically decrease the power of government, decrease the power of multinational corporations, decrease the power of the wealthy, because the more control the individual has, the less control everybody else has. So I believe in principles. I'm a candidate of principle for the principle. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to be famous. It doesn't help my business. This doesn't do anything for me at all, except maybe move our country in the right direction. And the fact is, if I didn't think we had a possibility of winning, I wouldn't do it. But I am a firm believer in the non-aggression principle as a moral and ethical imperative. But I don't think it's a good political principle, because it really only tells you what not to do. And politics is all about what to do. And politics is about control. And it's like we want to use power and control in order to bring more power and control to the individual. So we keep the non-aggression principle, and then I want to add a second principle, the positive empowerment principle, which means maximize the power of individuals to control themselves, their property, their environment, as long as they're not infringing on the rights of others. Now, where does that bring us today? What can we do? What can you do today to increase your own power, your own potential to influence the people who are more powerful than you? The goal is to give you more power and to take power away from people who are too powerful. Well, I would say that there are a couple candidates who are more powerful than you. And there's at least one candidate, I don't have any more power than you. All I can do is talk. So let me give you, I don't like to be negative, but you know, it's the way I feel, and it's honest. I was invited to speak at Libertarian Party. I'm not going to say which state, because I don't think it's right, but they call themselves the Free State. Anyhow, this was a small convention, about charitably 15 or 20 people. I think it was the back of a Denny's or something. But I went, and in fact, it was on the weekend. I was in the middle of a vacation in Chicago seeing my son who's in medical school. But I took the time out because they really wanted to get candidates there. They thought it would be good. It would help get people there. They wanted, and I wanted to help that Libertarian Party. So I went there. Now, they said that they were going to have a little debate. They were going to have a forum. And after the forum, after each candidate got to speak, they would take a vote. And whoever won the vote, they guaranteed their chair, who would be a delegate at the convention, at least on the first ballot, would vote for that candidate. Now, as you might have guessed, we're talking about New Hampshire. Does anybody here know what that vote was? Show of hands. Anyone know how that vote went? Nobody knows. Okay, so I would say they didn't have a lot of influence. Well, they heard from three candidates, Dr. Mark Feldman, Mr. Darrell Perry, who was also, I think, their former chair and maybe their vice chair of the party, and a fellow by the name of Reed, Michael David Reed, I think. None of the major candidates, but we were the three who took time out and went there to talk to them. So they evaluated each of us, and at the end they took a vote, and the winner was Gary Johnson. Now, if that's what they believe, that's fine. You know, I'm all about people, you know, empowered to do what they want to do. And I'm not saying it was the wrong decision, but I think if you look at the outcome of that, no one here knows that. And I can tell you that Gary Johnson won here last time. I think he raised about $2,500 or $3,000. Okay, thanks. Almost. Thank you for. We'll do some questions shortly. But I do need to say is that if you vote for me and not for the others, then this will be heard. This will make news. I'm going tonight to Philadelphia. They will know in Philadelphia that I was the winner here. Now, you've got cover. No one's going to be mad at you. People will say, well, it's because he was the only candidate who showed up. He's their Region 3 rep. There's a lot of, you know, he's not accepting money. You know, he's kind of cheating because he's not taking money for himself. He's pointing right. All these reasons and excuses they could have. But the fact is, Gary Johnson's winning these other ones. You're going to have a different candidate. And I'll tell you, it will be good for the Libertarian Party. It'll be good for Gary Johnson's campaign. It will get us noticed. At least has the potential to get us noticed. I mean, people remember when Ben Carson for a while was ahead, or when Carly Fiorina was ahead. It helps the party if we get it. So I'm going to ask, please send money to Gary Johnson, but do it on your own. You want to say he won't mind. Believe me, he won't mind. Austin Peterson, that's his biggest fear, is running out of money. If you support Austin Peterson, please send him money, but don't do it through the straw poll. Straw poll, I'm asking you to vote for me. Not because I want your money. I'll take $5. But, you know, it cost me a lot more than that to get here. But I want to, for a couple of reasons. Number one is I would like to raise over $3,000 to support the Libertarian Party of Michigan. And I want to have this be a landslide vote for who? Dr. Mark Allen Feldman, the physician from Cleveland? How did he win? That's interesting. We need to be interesting, because in being interesting, there's power. I think I have 5 minutes left. I'll take a few questions. Way in the back corner.
You spoke on belief, taxation, and non-aggression principle. Do you believe theft is a form of aggression?
Theft is definitely a form of aggression. Now, you know, believe it or not, my son says, people think you're stubborn, but it's only because you've already thought about things a lot. But I do have an open mind, and I used to say that I did not believe taxation is theft. And, you know, one of the few things Ayn Rand said that I do agree with is A. We know taxation is taxation and theft is theft. And I really didn't buy the idea that taxation is at a point of a gun because, you know, my taxes are taken out of my paycheck. And, you know, if I didn't pay taxes, they probably would, I'm an employed person, they would probably pay me less, you know. But really, taxation is theft. But it's the worst kind of theft. It's not theft at the point of a gun. It's theft by deception, especially the income tax. Because, thank you, because they're not taking money at the point of a gun. It's worse. They're taking money by convincing people that it doesn't belong to them. That's the worst kind of theft. It's theft by deception. If you can convince people that their own property that they own doesn't belong to them, then you don't even need they'll give it to you with consent because they've been deceived. America's been deceived. You'll hear it from Bernie Sanders. What should we do with the government's tax money? It's not the government's tax money. That's the advantage of the balance of credit plan, because it is that even though you don't get to keep the money, you can give it to charities, you can give it to government, but you control it. It's about control. That's what it is. Down check there.
Yeah, what is your position on pardoning either Snowden or Manning?
Just in terms of the detail, Manning, I think I would commute the sentence to time served, and it should be free. Snowden, I have mixed feelings about. I'm not sure whether to put him on trial or not, because Snowden is a traitor to the U.S. government, not to the American people, but he is to a government who's against us. So in a sense, I would like to put him on trial just to be very clear what he did before I would give him a full pardon and put him in my administration at a cabinet level position. But I think Snowden wants, I think if he was assured of a fair trial, he would want it. Yes.
What's your position on the TPP side?
That's, that's the trade pact?
The Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's also got a whole bunch of other reasons.
Yeah, I apologize, but yeah, basically, I don't get too excited about these things. What I usually say, if free trade is free, you don't need an agreement. I mean, that to me, I don't really understand. And the fact that trade should be freer, but it's a lot of it is politics, and a lot of it is Democrats versus Republicans, and who's making the money and who's getting. My point is, if we have the balancing credit plan, we can turn this around so that people will support the programs that they think are important. So I can't say I'm really in favor or against it. Overall, I'm against it because I don't think we should need those kinds of agreements. But it's a problem. It's a fight between different special interests. So it's hard to get too excited about it. Yes. Immigration. I have strong feelings about immigration. Now, I understand people's feelings. Okay. We have a community, we have a culture that we maintain that's based on shared values, shared experiences. We have people who want to come into that, and we don't know whether they're coming in because they really want to be here, because they want to support us, they want to help build with us, or whether they just want to take advantage of us. But I really don't think we should stop Republicans from coming into the Libertarian Party. I think we should allow some immigration. If the Republicans are coming for the right reason, let's bring them in. On the other hand, if Republicans are just coming in to take advantage, I think we should build a wall and make the Republican Party pay for it. But in terms of immigration, again, it's like everything else. Empower the individual. The INS already has rules that if you have a spouse or you have a child who's not a citizen of the United States and you want them to immigrate to become a citizen, it's expedited. You just have to show that you're willing to sponsor them, you can support them, you'll make sure that you'll help that they'll be part of your family. I think that that's great, and we should just drop the family relationship requirement, and we should make it a benefit of every American citizen to sponsor as few or as many immigrants as they would like to come to the United States. As long as they're willing to sponsor them and share responsibility for them, and using private foundations and private charities to help to support them. But how many Syrian refugees should we take? 1,000, 10,000, 1 million? I don't know. It's up to the American people, as many as the American people want to sponsor. And if you hear someone say, I think we should take more refugees, say, great, how many do you want to take? It's up to the American people. So again, thank you very much. Yes?
Could you give us a little background, bio, of why you went to, why you're a doctor, how long did you be a doctor, what drove you, your family, your mother and father, and so forth?
Okay, well, sure. My father's an attorney, mostly retired now. I'll share a quick story. We were at a restaurant and the family got together. My wife asked to pass something, and my father, she didn't use quite the correct word. So my father had to correct her. I said, Dad, you didn't have to correct her. We all knew what she wanted. He said, Mark, I was trained in the precise use of language. I said, Dad, I was trained to examine people without their clothes on, but I can restrain myself in a restaurant. So both my parents went to law school in D.C. Both my parents grew up in D.C. I was initially interested in, back in the 60s and 70s, I was interested in computers. Now, but I switched to medicine. You know, great thing. Who would get success going into computers in the 70s? But yes, I went. But I've always been kind of someone who looks for the opportunity, looks for how things can work. So I was always good at taking multiple choice tests. I took the PSAT, which is the basis of the National Merit Scholarship semifinalists. And when I thought I would do well, so they asked, "What's your first choice school?" So I liked a lot of schools. I didn't have a first choice school. So I looked at the data to see, well, what school offers the most National Merit Scholarships? Well, it was Northwestern University. Well, Northwestern University is my first choice school. So I did well on the test, and I ended up getting a National Merit Scholarship to Northwestern University. So then I went to Northwestern, and I decided I wanted to go to medical school. But I needed to pick a major. And I liked everything. I'm interested in everything. So what should I major in? Well, I looked at some data to look at what had the highest acceptance rate to medical school. And the highest number of the biology majors, but there's a ton of biology majors, most of them could not get into medical school. The highest rate was actually divinity majors. Well, I wasn't going to do that. So what was next? The next was philosophy. Philosophy majors have a very high acceptance rate to medical school. And in philosophy, you can pretty much take anything. So I was a philosophy major. I was a philosophy major at Northwestern, and I was accepted to the only medical school I applied to, which was the #1 medical school in the country, Johns Hopkins. Interestingly enough, only later, I knew that my father-in-law also was went to Johns Hopkins for medical school, and it turned out he was also a philosophy major, which kind of makes things interesting. But how I got into the Libertarian Party was I had moved from Baltimore, from Hopkins. I was working at Johns Hopkins. I was an assistant professor there, and I was recruited to come to Cleveland. One of my patients asked, Dr. Feldman, how did they get you to move from Baltimore to Cleveland? I said it was mostly because of family connections. He said, "Oh, that's great. So you have family here in Cleveland." I said, "No, they're all in Baltimore. That's why I moved to Cleveland." Sometimes you need a little space. But once I was in Ohio, I was disappointed that the Libertarian Party wasn't running a full slate of candidates, and I knew someone who was associated with the party, and I complained about it. I said, and I had always been a non-voter. I didn't register to vote till I was 50, and I said, you should have a full slate of candidates. A week later, I get a call in my office from the Libertarian Party saying, "Dr. Feldman, we actually do have a full slate of candidates except for Attorney General. We need someone to run for Attorney General. Would you, Dr. Feldman, be willing to run for Attorney General?" I said, "I'm not a lawyer." They said, "That's okay. You don't need to be. And with everything going on in healthcare, we think it'd be good to have a position as Attorney General." So I did end up running. I spent about $500 on my campaign, and I got 3% over 100,000 votes. So it is, which is strange enough, and I did as well as the Constitution Party candidate, who was a constitutional lawyer. So that's how I got involved, and it really showed that it's not about money; it's about principles. And we cannot win. We cannot win against the Democrats or Republicans on the basis of money. They have more money. We cannot win on the basis of power. They have more power. We can win on principles and integrity. They don't have principles, and they don't have integrity, and they don't have any way to get it. And on that, we can win. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That was quite interesting. Okay, what we're going to do next is I'm going to ask the representatives for each of the campaigns. They're just going to come up here and introduce themselves. Emily, do you want to come up here first and just tell them who you are, for those who may not know you, what campaign you're supporting, and then what we're going to ask everyone to do. Yeah, you can just take a minute, okay? Just come up and introduce yourself, tell them about your campaign, and then we're going to ask that everyone who's interested in any of these campaigns to go and visit and ask as many relevant questions as you may have, may affect your donation or other interests you may have in helping their campaign. So I'll have you go ahead first.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We're glad to have you here today. The Gary Johnson campaign is located right in the corner here at the table. I want to introduce Scotty Bowman, who's the field director for the Johnson campaign. Yay, Scotty. And I also want to introduce Diane Bosco. Diane, are you here? Can you stand up? Diane's helping at the table too. She's actually a cousin of Gary Johnson. And so she's helping her want to vote for him. And so I'm doing credentialing stuff a little bit, but we can all answer your questions. We all have bumper stickers and palm cards, and also, of course, that all important envelope and donation form. And we can take credit cards. We've just found out. So please come on over to the Gary Johnson table. Thank you.
Hey, everyone, can you hear me in the back? All right, I'm here. I'm Jeff Wood, Vice Chairman of the Libertarian Party of Michigan. I'm here to represent Darrell W. Perry. I think we should choose someone for president who's going to be a libertarian who will get our principles out there in front of the mainstream media. Not someone who's going to water them down for mass appeal. The reason Ron Paul had such mass appeal is because he did not pander to his audience, but rather because he stuck to his guns, and people respected that kind of authenticity. I see Darrell Perry as the Ron Paul of the LP. We need someone who's willing to say that taxation is theft on national television. We need someone who's willing to say legalize everything to the mainstream media. That's how you get people thinking, and that's how you get new libertarians. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll support the Darrell Perry campaign today.
Hi there. I'm Todd Andrew Barnett. I am a representative for the Joy Waymeyer Libertarian for President campaign. To tell you about Joy, she's been an active member of the party for quite a number of years so far, since sometime around 2008, I believe. She supports the NAP. She believes that we need to have no foreign intervention in other countries. She wants to cut taxes, lower them, or repeal them as much as possible. She believes in the Second Amendment. She wants to get the government out of the control of other countries and whatnot. And she basically wants all of us to be free. And she's very much along the lines of a Ron Paul constitutionalist. So that's pretty much what she stands for. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hi. Hello. Who is excited and fired up to be at the convention today? Right? Exactly. So I want to thank you all for coming out and being a part of this process of selecting who is ultimately going to be your presidential candidate representing you. My name is Bryn Beamick. I am here representing Austin Peterson. And his goal is to take over the government, to leave everybody alone. So he is the hardest working candidate that I have ever encountered. He went to 15 state conventions in 17 days. He's at 2 state conventions this weekend. And so there's actually 7 conventions today alone. So it makes it difficult for the candidates to spread out a little bit. And I believe in Austin. And I believe in his ability to band us together, to bring in people. And ultimately, I believe Austin can win. He is the best brand ambassador that the Libertarian Party has seen. And he is out there hustling. He's talking to voters, talking to potential delegates, and he wants your vote. He wants your support. And so I ask you to consider how best we can spread the message of liberty and freedom. And when you think about that, think about Austin Peterson, because he is the man who is going to do that job better than any other candidate. So if you have any other questions about Austin, what he stands for, policy-wise, he's a song and dance man. I'm not going to sing for you today. Sorry. I considered it briefly. Maybe I'll take some requests. But if you stop over at our table, I would love to have a longer discussion with you. Thanks so much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Thrasher. I'm the National Campaign Director for John McAfee's presidential campaign. And I wanted to make sure everybody can hear me back there. Now, again, John McAfee is a very interesting character. He's one of these guys who's been a libertarian his entire life, and nobody ever bothered to tell him, and that's on us. John McAfee is running a campaign that is true to libertarian principles. We're talking about eliminating the IRS. We're talking about ending the drug war, ending the wars, ending all sorts of foreign intervention. We've got to change our government. Now, here's the reason that I want you guys to consider John McAfee as our candidate for the Libertarian Party. We have an opportunity in this election like we have never had before. And John McAfee gives us the best opportunity to spread the message of libertarianism outside of the echo chamber, okay, to an audience who is yet to hear it, so that they will know in their hearts, or in their minds, what they already know in their hearts, that is that they are indeed libertarians. We have got to spread the message of liberty. John McAfee is the best option to do that, because he can stand on a street corner and out of thin air create a gaggle of press. None of our candidates have that ability. I encourage you to take a look at what we've got over here. Come by the table, talk to me. Also, we've got a video here if you want to see John McAfee waxing poetic over a piano solo that he wrote and played. We've got a video here to show you as well. So come and talk with us. But I say again, John McAfee is the best opportunity we have to spread the message of libertarianism to an audience that is yet to hear it. And that's what we have to do to take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you.
I just want to remind a few people of some rules and what's going to take place next. Certainly want to encourage you to ask as many questions as you can, whether you speak directly to Mark or to one of the representatives of the other campaigns. Electronic media is not permitted, so if you want to show a video, you have to take it outside. Okay? It's in the rules. Yeah, no videos permitted on site. And it's intentional so that we don't have candidates doing presentations separately. We have a limited amount of time, and so I just want to make sure we're following the rules. Now, it is 12:34 by my watch. We're going to go 30 minutes. So at 1:05, we're going to come back and start check writing. So in the next 30 minutes, what I'd encourage you to do is to meet with one of the representatives that you just were introduced to, or with Mark directly, and ask as many questions as you may have regarding that campaign. You may also be asked or solicit from them the paperwork necessary for you to make a campaign under the rules of the campaign finance rules. So we're going to go 30 minutes. This is a good opportunity if you need to make a bathroom break or ask questions. This is a good time to do that. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Leonard's going to speak briefly just on campaign finance.
I've been the campaign finance law advisor to the state party since '99. The maximum amount of money you can contribute is $2,700. The maximum amount of money that you can contribute in currency is $100, and the maximum amount of money you can contribute anonymously is $50. Those are the rules.
Thank you, Leonard. Appreciate that. Now, I want to mention a few other things that are important here. For your vote to count, your donation to count, you have to have several things. Number one, you have to be a member of the party. Anyone here you're welcome to join today for this process, for voting in terms of the straw poll event. Anyone who has not yet checked in with Andrew should do so. And we're not going to count any money for anybody that hasn't checked in and as registered as a member. I think there's just a handful of people who maybe bypass the credentials committee. But the committee, there's 5 of us that are going to be counting the money. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at those donations and see whether or not that person is a member. If they're a member, then it counts. If it's not a member, we're not counting it. Okay? The second thing is we do have some alternative ways of making donations. Bitcoin is one of them. You need to get your receipt so that we have something to count with. Okay? Anything's been done in the last 24 hours is fine. Okay? So we're not being picky about that. So if you want to start now, anybody would like to talk to any of the representatives, get more questions, now's the time to do so. And otherwise, have a beer. We're going to go. And we're going to come back about 1 o'clock.
So, how are we handling it? We do it through our website? Yeah, just get it printed up. Yeah, find a way to get it printed up. Well, yeah, get a free show.
Yeah, whatever we do.
Good job.
Wow. Correct.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize
Since it's getting so loud out there, put it back there and scroll around. But would you like to be interviewed?
That's the town.
I'd like to, if anyone would like to say their thoughts about any of that on the camera on the live stream here.
So people are wanting to I think we're going to do this. But I have to do it.
You can accept us. You can accept it.
Oh, I was wondering if you were at that guy. You're not. Okay, well, that's good.
Organized chaos. I love it.
By that encounters, they took the ball. Something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's all go as well.
I tried. I tried. I tried. I was from high school to college.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. Now the check writing, or however other means, begins. You have 15 minutes to get your money turned in, okay? Now, we're going to gather all these funds, so the different representatives or the candidate himself, in Mark's case, need to get the funds to the committee, and we're going to pick a spot, like maybe this front table here. And I'm going to need Jim Folner, and I'm going to need Kim McCurry, and Jason Vandenberg, and myself, and Andrew Hall. So if someone could assist, should we do it over there? Do we need to?
Oh, no, I still need to do a check.
Oh, well, right, you got 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, we're going to count all the funds up here. At 1:15, once everything is turned in, we're going to invite you to enjoy the Jim will outline what's going on. Ready? Okay. Thank you.
Do we have another 10 or 15 minutes of
Yeah, you got 15 minutes.
Gary Johnson, money, money, money. We love you all. Please give us your money. We can fit the struggle.
Right over here. Let me know.
Just for the record.
I would not want to do that.
We had a very every dollar.
I guess.
Yeah, so
Are you doing class conversation? Well, miss your opportunity to vote. Gary
We are there. We're just meridian is the one that yeah, meridian is I'm sorry, we're just meridian north of Market. So Market and meridian together. So we're about half a mile. We're super close. Meridian goes north. North south, right. And then Market goes right. For some reason, That's what I'm all the time, yeah. He's there.
Great turnout. And I just, you need sure, there was no good weekend. There's 50 states, there's all sorts of things. And in some places actually worked out really well. I dropped the ball. I'm ultimately, I think listen, well,
I don't know that it's causation. I just know that there is a correlation.
Anybody else is making 600?
Very pleased with the other.
After 115.
Oh, they got
Well, not more.
Get everybody in the room. Please get everybody in the room. Get everybody in
Any last minute donations for Gary? We got $612.
Last minute donations.
They're still going up.
Last minute.
If there is anyone who made a cash donation,
Very good.
I have information about making cash donations to federal candidates. Counselor Hall has told us that under $20 it can be anonymous, but 20 to 100.
No, Leonard was actually right. You can anonymously do up to 50.
Oh, okay, anonymously up to $50, but if it was over 50 and between 100,
Yeah.
you must have paperwork. So if you have made a contribution between $50 and $100 in cash and did not fill out information with your name and address, please come over to the
Let
table.
me amend that. We do need to have something in writing, not with your name, but we have to have something from the campaign that this was a $40 donation. That was anonymously done.
And
So I'm
this-
holding the reps to do that. So just, all we need is a piece of paper. We're not asking for anything complicated. But something for us to count that says you received a $20 anonymous donation, okay?
And the purpose of that is just to make sure that the person making the donation is a party member.
Right.
So we need a name, so we can make an anonymous donation.
Not in this process.
Not if they wanted to
Right,
count.
but they don't
for
have
this
to,
drop.
they don't have to tell the campaign. They just have to tell us.
Okay, we have several,
We're turning this stuff back over. We're not keeping it.
we have several cash donations, and maybe you do too. So,
He has a list.
well, we don't. So if you made a cash donation to the D.R. Johnson campaign, and we don't have paperwork on you, I think there are 3 of them, 2 at 20 and 1 at 40. Would you please come over and at least sign the envelope?
Yeah, so we know, because we can't count your contribution unless you're a member of the party. This is essentially a closed caucus.
The candidates are not allowed to do their own campaign.
Correct.
Unless you're a member.
But unless you're a member of the Libertarian Party of Michigan.
Which could be being $25.
He's got a
That's really correct. So,
Dude, we're a political party.
you're ready to go in here. Okay, so here's what's happening next. While we're getting the campaign managers to get their funds together, let's let the committee
If I can, I'll just talk back.
tell you about what's happening next.
All right, thank you all for coming, we really appreciate it. I want to thank the Libertarian Party helped out with lunch today. So, for lunch, your $15 you paid to attend the meeting this evening gets you lunch as well. For lunch, we have sloppy joes, and your family recipe, beans and chips wonderfully donated by Mr. J.J. McCurry, who is a rep for Better Made Chips, Michigan-made chocolate. We have a couple of LPOC members who are going to help you out right here at the kitchen. We already have everything set up for you. You get a sloppy joe, you get some beans, you get some chips, and then please go to the bar and get your choice of beverage, whether it be soda, pop, or beer. The state can't let us sell you beer unless we give them money, so as libertarians, we don't like doing that. So you're welcome
to get a free beer on us. And if you happen to, at the same time, choose to make a generous donation to the Libertarian Party of Michigan, that'd be a great coincidence. There's also the Knights of Columbus Hall here gave us this hall for practically nothing. So if we choose to also make a generous donation to them, we do have another picture at the bar for the KFC charities, particularly as several of our KFC members are also members here today. You may have passed some KFC members on your way here who are selling Tootsie Rolls for the mentally impaired drive. They'll get less money today since me and Jim Young are here instead of there. So you can make a generous donation to them. It would also be appreciated. Thank you. I hope you guys really enjoy your time. And let's have a great day, because if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Woo! Harry 2016! Yeah, I had 2 big years. So it's not my almost not that on camera. They were cool.
I'm actually, while we're, I was inviting people
We just got another $5 now.
I'm going to be there. If I never get invited to another convention, I will still be at the debate in Orlando, and I think I'm still going to focus to support the work. You're keeping that same ground, except here to
Oh, was that?
Hey, I was. I know. It says 5 or
I've heard they're actually on. Well, apparently.
You're missing the fundamental rule.
Because it makes it tell.
The order came directly.
There's more.
Hey, everybody, results are in right at 2 o'clock as planned. Very exciting. Before I announce the results, I want to make an announcement. Many of you may know that we've already booked the Radisson Hotel in Lansing for the state convention on May 14th. Should be a exciting show. And quite honestly, is Mark Feldman still here? Okay, I'll give him a call, but I just want the crowd and all the people watching online to know how much I appreciate the fact that he took the time to come here. That's not to say the other campaigns they're really busy, and I get that. But to make that extra effort is really, really appreciated. So I wanted to say that for Mark. Likewise, all of the campaigns that sent a representative, particularly those who came from out of state, to be part of this, I think Michigan should thank them for taking time and the energy and all the other stuff to try to represent their campaign as best as they could. Now, the truth is that because of the way campaign budgets or project budgets come together, honestly, when we started to conceive this, we didn't believe that we could get this many activists out, and that's really thanks to you guys for showing up. We made a decision for the convention committee for the event that's on May 14th, and I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm going to tell you about this. Because this event has done so well, we've decided to give all the people who paid to come to this event today an opportunity to get a special rate on the event in May. So if you paid to come to the straw poll today and you're willing to pay to go to the convention in May by next Saturday, right? Next Saturday. Next Saturday is the deadline. You can pay online.
No.
Or,
I was going to say, we haven't set up a ticket. It was going to be through the mail.
I know that. They're gonna be able to pay online though, through PayPal if they want to.
What about Bitcoin?
And Bitcoin too. Dollars aren't working there. Somehow we've got to be able to do the conversion. I'll explain that in a second. And here's the deal. We're going to work out the bug in the next 24 hours. And you know, Kim, thank you for stopping there, because I need to say something that I overlooked today. You may have noticed that our treasurer isn't here today. Jonathan Osmond had a death in his family on Thursday, and he was unable to attend as a result of that. So I hope all of you who are friends of Jonathan can reach out to him and let him know that the Libertarian family is behind him. It's a pretty tragic situation, and so he wasn't able to be here today. I don't want to make a commitment on Bitcoin, but I think we can work it out, okay? I think we'll find some way to work it out. But here's the deal. If you sign up early for the convention by next Saturday, by check or by online means, the whole package is $65. Then it's lunch, banquet, and everything else. By next Saturday. That is the early bird. Okay. If you wait until After that period, up until May 1st, it's $80. So that's a $15 difference. What did people pay to come to this today?
$15.
Exactly. Exactly. So we've tried to work this into the convention budget so that people who sacrifice to be here today are going to get a little bit of a break. So please pay. Now I want to just say one thing about PayPal. We'll accept your your online registration if that's the way you choose to do it. But if you write a check and it's in the mail, it's dated by next Saturday, I would prefer you do that, and I'll tell you why. It costs us about $3 to pay PayPal for those donations. So if you're able to write a check, that's even better, okay? So the big thing is get registered for the convention, take advantage of your discount. If it's past May 1st, it's $90 at the door. So we did that intentionally because we have some plans that require that we have some sense of revenue. So I'm encouraging you as best I can to register early so that we can have some idea of how many people are coming so that we can make this a big success. We think it's going to be special. We have results. Joy Waymeyer, California, got 60 votes. John McAfee of Tennessee got 230 votes. Mark Feldman of Ohio got 575 votes. Daryl Perry of New Hampshire, correct?
Yes.
Who reminds us of the importance of keeping the decimal system alive, 616.04 votes.
Yeah.
That's better. Austin Peterson of Missouri, 1,415 votes. And this one even shocked me. Gary Johnson of New Mexico, 5,650 votes. I want to say congratulations to all the campaigns for participating. Special thanks to everybody in the party for turning out and having some fun. I hope you had a good time. We're officially done with the straw poll. Now, I just want to say a few words real quick. We have a special convention that will start promptly at 2:30. I will not be terribly involved in that. Kim and the rest of the committee will be running that operation. If you have been a member of the party for 30 days or more, you are eligible to participate as a voting member of the special convention. Anyone that joined today, please don't be disheartened. Come in May, that's when most things are going to happen. This is a special event that took place today to select delegates. So if you are not a voting member, we're going to ask you to leave the floor. Okay? Doesn't mean you have to leave the building, just leave the floor so we know who's where. It's an important function of the party that we're legally obligated to do. Yeah, have some more to eat, whatever. But that will start promptly at 2:30. And we really appreciate everybody's participation. It was a lot of fun. Is there an announcement? We're done.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
From the credentialing standpoint for the delegate.
Listen up, please.
For the delegate vote, we need to, anybody who has not signed in yet, make sure that you sign in with Andrew by the front door.
I'm right here.
Okay, or Andrew at the front table. I saw Ray come in. I know you want to vote. So, if you do not have a V on your name tag, we need to see you. Okay, thank you.
Are we all pull that one? All the campaign managers do.